Eating at Fogo de Chão but not sure which sides will pair best with your protein? Not to worry, we've got you covered. The first food item to grace your table at Fogo de Chão will likely be a bowl of pão de queijo. These fluffy cheese buns are a popular Brazilian snack that can be served at any time of day and with pretty much any type of food. They're pillowy with just the right amount of chewiness and are packed with cheesy goodness. Fogo de Chão makes them with sweet and sour yucca flour and Parmesan cheese. The buns are baked in the oven until golden and typically arrive at the table still warm. Even better, they're gluten-free.
It's always fun watching the pão de queijo blooming in the oven while baking.
It's not often that you hear people rave about the complimentary bread at a steakhouse, but Fogo de Chão is not your typical spot. Many customers have commented on how the pão de queijo was a major highlight of the meal. Customers have called them insanely good and addictive. One reviewer said, "The standout was the Brazilian cheese bread, incredibly chewy and delicious. Multiple rounds were a must. You can eat them on their own, use them to sop up sauce, or make mini sandwiches with the buns." Fogo de Chão made our list of the steakhouse chains with the best mashed potatoes thanks to its stellar rendition of the dish. The chain amps up the flavor of its mashed potatoes with drawn butter, roasted garlic, cracked pepper, and fresh chives. Customers use adjectives like creamy, garlicky, and to die for. They're an excellent complement to the meats, and as one reviewer said, sides like this balance out the meal. Just like the pão de queijo and many of the other side dishes on offer, the mashed potatoes are bottomless with the churrasco experience, so you can order as many servings as you like. That could get you into trouble though. The only complaint that some people have about the potatoes is that they're so good, you may be tempted to load up on them right away.
Please, I beg you, resist temptation.
As one diner advised, suggest eating them sparingly so you won't get too stuffed before the meat comes in. Feijoada is the national dish of Brazil, so of course Fogo de Chão offers a version of this traditional bean and meat stew.
It is more than just a bean stew. It is a cultural rite of passage.
There are many different variations of the dish across Brazil that incorporate black, red, or brown beans and different types of meat like beef, pork, and trotters. Fogo de Chão makes its feijoada with black beans and sausage over white rice. The feijoada bar at Fogo de Chão is self-serve, so you can load up on as much as you like and top it with any of the condiments and garnishes on offer. The chain suggests topping it with fresh orange, farofa, and malagueta hot sauce. This is another side dish where you might want to practice some restraint though, as it can be pretty filling. As one reviewer said, the feijoada at the salad bar was hearty and delicious, and if I wasn't holding out for more meat, I would have gotten more. The grilled cheese with honey isn't listed on the menu at every Fogo de Chão, but many diners say you can request it as a side dish or starter. You can also have it as a vegetarian main or even a dessert. If you want to show off your foreign language skills, ask for the queijo assado, as it's called in Portuguese.
Delectable. Simply melts in your mouth.
Fogo de Chão introduced the queijo assado in 2019, and it was an instant hit. The dish features firm Coalho cheese grilled and drizzled with honey that is infused with malagueta peppers. The result is a beautiful combination of salty, sweet, and slightly spicy flavors. If you don't see it on the market table or menu, be sure to ask your server if they can bring some to the table. One diner described it as a true standout by way of flavor diversity. Fogo de Chão's market table is essentially an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but don't expect the same old limp lettuce leaves and anemic-looking tomatoes you find at so many others.
We want to feed people. We want to feed you. We want to try this, try that. What do you think about this? And we do that with passion.
The chain has a stellar lineup of classic salads and unique creations to choose from for those who want a little greenery with their meals. The seasonal salads are usually huge hits with diners for their interesting flavor combos and fresh ingredients that are at their peak. Regulars of Fogo de Chão love that the seasonal salads change a few times a year, so there's always something new and exciting to try at the market table. Past creations have included the pear and arugula salad with goat cheese and a balsamic glaze, and the crispy chickpea kale salad. If you have more traditional tastes, you can opt for the Caesar salad or create your own with the veggies on offer. If you're craving just a salad, you can order the market table only, which is a great option for vegetarians or those who aren't in the mood for a full lineup of Fogo de Chão meats. Let's be honest, you're probably not going to Fogo de Chão for the vegetables. Sure, they make a great addition to the meal, but meat is the main focus here. We wouldn't judge you if you wanted to add some all-meat side dishes to your market table plate. One dish that diners go crazy for is the black pepper candied bacon. It's sweet, salty, meaty, crispy, and has just a hint of heat.
Bacon, my love, bacon!
The ingredients are pretty simple. It's just bacon coated with brown sugar, black pepper, and red pepper flakes. However, once it's in the oven, the magic starts to happen. The heat causes the sugars to caramelize, which creates a beautiful glaze that turns the bacon almost into a bark. It's the perfect brunch side dish, although you can find it at the market table during lunch and dinner as well. Pete Robbins of Half Past First Cast said, "Fogo makes pepper candied bacon that I would buy by the pound at any cost if I could. If you don't see it, ask for it." Brazil is home to a melting pot of cultures, each of which has influenced the country's food in some way. One dish that the Italians contributed to the culinary landscape is polenta. Fogo de Chão offers a crispy polenta side dish that is similar to thick-cut fries. Cornmeal and water are simmered in a pan until thick and then cooled in the refrigerator overnight. After it sets, the polenta is cut into pieces, pan-fried until crisp, and served hot with grated Parmesan cheese. The crunchiness of the fry-like sticks are a great match for succulent grilled meats. They're also perfect for dipping in the many sauces on offer. Many customers say the polenta is their go-to side dish. One diner raved, "I had never had polenta fries, and they're my new favorite food." And another smitten patron said, "As long as you aren't on keto, you must try their fried polenta. I have dreams about that stuff." Sweet dishes aren't just for dessert at Fogo de Chão. Caramelized bananas are a popular side dish that many people eat alongside Fogo's grilled meats. The sweetness of the bananas helps cut through the richness and saltiness of the meat, as well as other creamy and crispy sides. The chain claims the bananas also help stimulate the palate throughout the meal. Of course, you can always save your caramelized bananas for last if you prefer to end your meal on a sweet note. Once again, there's nothing fancy about the preparation of this side dish. The bananas are simply sliced in half and sautéed in a pan with butter and brown sugar. Just before serving, they're sprinkled with cinnamon. Despite having only a few basic ingredients, the caramelized bananas make a big impression on diners.
Simple yet complex and fully textured.
One customer said, "The bananas remind me of the bananas my mom would make when I was growing up." Another reviewer said the bananas were the highlight of the entire experience. With its all-you-can-eat meat concept, many people think Fogo de Chão is primarily a lunch or dinner spot. What you might not know is Fogo also does a pretty spectacular brunch. In fact, it's among the steakhouse chains that serve the best brunch in the country. You can opt for the meat-centric churrasco experience with full access to the market table, or order a la carte dishes like waffles, omelets, seafood, and steak. One brunch side dish that many say you shouldn't sleep on is the Bolo de fubá. If you're a fan of coffee cake, Bolo de fubá should be right up your alley. It's basically a Brazilian corn cake that's light but still moist, slightly crumbly, and sweet without being a sugar bomb. At Fogo, it's served with whipped caramelized banana cream, powdered sugar, and fresh berries. It works well as a brunch starter with coffee, a palate cleanser between dishes of steak and eggs, or as a sweet dish to end the meal. Some diners love it so much they've tried to replicate it at home. Before you dive into all those delicious meats at Fogo, you might want to whet your appetite with something light and flavorful. Soup is a great starter because it can wake up the taste buds without weighing you down too much. Saunter over to the market table and you'll find a selection of soups made with fresh, seasonal ingredients. In the spring, that might be sweet pea and asparagus, while in the summer, it could be tomato and mozzarella. Fall and winter soups could include lentil or butternut squash.
It's a lot to take in.
There are a few Fogo de Chão market table tips everyone should know. First, if your main goal is to pack in as much meat as you can, you need to take it easy on the heavy salad bar dishes, and that includes soups. If the appetizer is packed with dense veggies and grains, you may want to give it a skip. And if meat isn't your main focus, you can make a whole multi-course meal just out of the market table. You can have a hearty salad with soup on the side, create a veggie plate with sauces for dipping, and end with fresh tropical fruit. The market table is also great for creating DIY side dishes out of tasty charcuterie and antipasti offerings. What's the difference between charcuterie and antipasti? At Fogo de Chão, the charcuterie selection typically consists of cured meats like prosciutto, salami, and chorizo, as well as cheeses, mustard, and pickles. The antipasti spread often includes marinated or roasted vegetables, like marinated mushrooms and roasted zucchini, eggplant, and artichokes. The key to creating a charcuterie and antipasti side dish at Fogo is to think about what would go best with your preferred grilled meats. Strong cheeses like blue cheese and gorgonzola can pair nicely with full-flavored red meat like picanha and New York strip. Roasted veggies can go well with chicken, while sweeter items like roasted peppers and fruit can pair well with pork. Don't be afraid to try new flavor combinations. After all, part of the fun at Fogo de Chão is mixing and matching different foods. Grilled pineapple is a common side dish at many Brazilian steakhouses. The pineapple is typically coated in brown sugar, grilled, and dusted with cinnamon. It's a great side dish because the acidity and sweetness of the fruit counterbalance fatty cuts of meat like top sirloin and sausage. However, peruse the menu at Fogo de Chão and you probably won't see grilled pineapple on there. If you're lucky, it might come out as a special side dish.
That option is on the secret menu.
Some diners say you can also get it via special request. One TripAdvisor reviewer said, "The grilled pineapple was probably the best thing we had all night. Do not sleep on that. Warm pineapple with the cinnamon sugar churro seasoning on top, it hit the spot perfectly." However, the reviewer also commented that the gauchos never came around with the pineapple, so they had to ask for it twice. Fortunately, the servers at Fogo de Chão can be very accommodating. From what the few lucky patrons who have had it say, the grilled pineapple is definitely worth requesting.